Okay, back in 2004, we were looking at basically diversifying our portfolio for our online training. We didn't offer online training. We're an occupational health and safety company. We've been in business since 1988, and we've been doing, at that point we had pretty much done everything that there is to do for occupational health and safety training. We did open workshops, on-site workshops, training materials, reference aids, that kind of stuff. And we just came to the conclusion that, you know, the future is now. We need to get into this online world, you know, kind of for occupational health and safety at the beginning of where everybody was going into it. So we were one of the forerunners for it in our industry and in Alberta. And essentially what happened was we chose Greenlight for various reasons. The main one being that it worked best with our the technology worked best with us because we were looking for a technological partner, because we had the content. The content wasn't the issue. We didn't need SMEs, we didn't need educational professionals. We just needed a platform that we could offer the training through and the technology to do that, right? So we didn't want to bring in people, we didn't want to invest, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in getting the code and everything done, and it was the best solution for us. The 3 modules made a lot of sense to the way we do business. There was the learning management side with the record keeping, the content management, which spoke our language, enabling performance objectives, very educational terms, and of course the e-commerce section, which enabled us to sell the products. And that's kind of, it was the perfect fit for our business at that time. The location also helped because it was a local business, and or you guys have a local office, and we've been happy with the product since.
And what was your experience like if you could talk through implementation, what you had to go through to get the product to your configurations, usability, since you were involved with the usability side on all of those fronts too, kind of the support, usability. How was it for you getting up to speed and really getting into the product? Can you share that experience?
Well, getting into the product was quite easy. My background was not technical, and I was able to just pick it up and run with it because it's very user-friendly. Once you got used to the way that web-based applications work, because it's obviously a different technology. It's not like we're using a Word program or something that's isolated to your computer. There are certain rules that happen with web apps, like refresh rates and that kind of thing, that affect the way it works. But once you get used to it, it was fantastic, easy to use. I've trained multiple people in it, both staff and people who are using the program from us. The support that we got was wonderful. The technological support and the answers, walking us through how we had set it up. I was the project manager, and we had a wonderful support network. Any training we needed was done on their site. They took us, and any customizations that needed to be done were done quite readily for us at that point in time, and both to our website and the other one, and they just linked them up and did everything we needed to get done.
Courseware-wise, how much courseware you started out with, courses that you were developing to distribute via the e-commerce piece? You started out with a few courses. Have you been able to successfully continually add courseware, contentware to your offerings? How has that process worked?
The process is wonderful, actually. We started off with one program. It was our WMIS program. We moved on, and we actually offer 2 WMIS programs now. There's the WMIS and WMIS Refresher. We've added transportation of dangerous goods, 4 versions, one for each role specific and a complete one. We have a nitrogen training, OH&S, due diligence. There's a whole bunch of products we've added to our mix, and we're doing it on about 2 to 3 offerings per year that we've been adding on average to our list.
And have you looked at it from the number of end users that are actually using your content and courseware? Are they doing anything with, after viewing your content and courseware, doing things like assessments, any type of testing? What does that look like, if you can share a little bit of that?
Well, the testing is very comprehensive, and it's there's actually multiple levels of assessments. There's the self-checks, and in the self-checks they use, it's kind of their own it's self-directed, the self-checks. They go in, and if they answer it wrong, they basically are prompted till they get the right answer. And that's point 1. It's kind of to review the content. Then at the end of the program, there's a big test. And the big test, they don't have any help. They just write the test. We set the exam scores, and we can customize those as well because the system allows you to do that for different content, right? E-course to e-course, you can customize that. And then we also make it mandatory that you have to view every screen. We can lock down which areas they have to go into first so that it's a linear progression and they can't jump around in the course. There's a lot of flexibility. And in terms of the questions, it's a really great platform actually because we're able to randomize the questions. We can randomize the answers within the questions. We can have a percentage from each module. So say there's 5 modules in a program and the first 2 are the most important. We can put a higher emphasis on those 2 and say 50% from the first 2 and then split 50% between the next 3. And it allows us to do that because it's just that kind of system. It's very flexible when it comes to that kind of thing.
And what's the feedback that you've had from your customers, your end users? What does that look like?
The feedback overall is very, very good. User-friendly. When we launched, actually, basically what I did was, as we were launching programs, I was taking customer feedback. And the 3 words that we got the most often, I used in our promotional pieces, and it was dynamic, proven, and interactive. Because the training was dynamic, the content is proven because it was from a great source, they knew us, they trusted the content, and it was very interactive and functional. People weren't bored by the content. So,
the e-commerce piece, how has that worked for you? What's the experience been? Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing with e-commerce?
Okay, we're using the e-commerce a little bit different than most of the clients would in terms of the fact that we're reselling the product. We're not like a big company that's training 3,000 employees. We're, for smaller companies and for larger companies, we're their training hub. So they're coming to us, we're giving them the training that they need, we give them their administered results, etc. And we sell through the e-commerce system. And there's actually 3 client bases that we sell to. There's people who are buying multiple tokens, and they'll buy like for 100 users, 1,000 users, depending on the client. And they'll get all their training done, and we give them their admin records and all that kind of information. Then there's the moderate users that are using smaller quantities, or they're purchasing it with the intent to resell it, some of them. Like, so some of us purchase from their small training companies, for example, and they're up in Peace River. And so they don't have the technology and they don't have the money to do it, so they'll buy tokens from us and resell it to people who just need 1 or 2 training courses. And that's kind of level 2. And then the 3rd level is just the one-offs, people who are coming directly to us through the website.
What, do you have any idea how many people you put through training in a given year? Like, what's been like is there an average type of volume, high volume? What
we've been doing is, per annum, we pretty much double. So the first year, I think we started with about 2,000. And then the next year, we did 4 additional thousand. And then the next year, we did about 8 additional thousand. To the point now, I think we're at around 15 to 20,000 in the system. So, and that's with the deletions and removals of people who've, kind of trying to keep the record management current, for people who aren't current in the system. So,
any issues with performance? Any feedback with performance? People feel like they're getting a real-time experience as they're going through the training?
Overall, it has been, yeah. What we've had was, when we initially purchased, we were on a shared server. We moved to a dedicated server, and once we were on the dedicated server, we had no issues whatsoever.
What, in your experience with the product, what has it meant to the business? Could you give kind of a summation of what Greenlight has meant to your company?
Essentially, it gave us the ability to provide training that we would have otherwise missed the boat on. So as a small company, we're Alberta-based, we're a small company, and we had people coming to us for all of their training needs. We had one gap in our matrix, and that was the online. We were able to fill that gap, and our clients were happy about it.
And would you recommend and endorse Greenlight?
100%. I totally recommend it. It's a great product.
And is it a good experience from what you deal with personally? Has it been added value to what you're trying to accomplish with yourself and your teams?
Yes, it has. I think, like I said, we wouldn't be able to sell the online had we not chosen, the Greenlight platform. It's functional, it's user-friendly. We have multiple contractors who are able to log in and help us build the programs. We have people who are able to, like clients that can log in. Once they've learned it, we always say to them it's easier than creating a Hotmail account.